Okay, morning. So today we're going to be talking about gaskets. Last week we spoke about seals, so we'll kick off with gaskets this morning. Gaskets were invented actually a lot further long ago than I thought, in 1899 actually, and they were used.
Were you there, Peter?
What a year later. They were used to, when locomotives came about, to put two metal pieces together with a boiler. And they actually used asbestos. So that's why those guys aren't around anymore, I guess. There are so many different types of gaskets these days. They're made from so many different materials. We've got some that are made of cork. We get gaskets that come in a tube, silicone of some kinds, paper, cardboard just about, Neuropin. There's rubber, nitrates. There are so many different types of gaskets in different forms. And they all have they're all used for different purposes. So this is typically an exhaust gasket. When you get really high temperatures, you're not going to put a paper gasket in that because it's not going to last too long. So this is designed for extreme temperatures. So we're just going to, obviously a lot of stores store them in here, and a lot of you guys receive a lot of the parts. So it's about quality control as well, what comes in from our suppliers. When you guys do stock takes, what to look out for, what could be a damaged gasket, and some of the stuff that has been around here for a long time. So this is a gasket that we got back as a return. Anybody tell me what's wrong with that? If you were in the return department, what's wrong with that?
It's actually missing half of it.
Yeah, missing half of it. What else?
It's stained.
Yeah, it's pretty dirty and stained. So that'll go straight in the bin. A lot of gaskets are made up of, if you guys who went to preschool, I don't know if you did jigsaws, but that one's missing a piece. So. They look a bit like that. You've got to break them off and put them together. So they're manufactured like that to keep it all together. There are times where some of the old stuff that has been put one side because it's rejected might come like that. So I just found in the rejection pile, where you don't know what's going on. You might get a piece broken off. So just to look out for complete gaskets when you do your stock takes and that sort of thing. Those are the rubbish ones. Another thing to look out for is, obviously we do sell some machines. We have moved away from that game, but there are some machines that are sort of go back to, who's the oldest guy in the room? Pre-Neville's day. We've got machines from 1945. And if you've got a gasket that's been up there since 1945 and you pick it up, it's just going to sort of, oh, that one didn't work. It's just going to brittle. They get hard from age, up in the sun, so just look out for that as well when you do stock take. We don't have really many of these sort of problems, but some of the old stuff that we have in stock, you might come across that. Just some interesting points about gaskets. We had a lot of people and a lot of mechanics love to use this stuff in a silicone. We've had a D9 that came in last year for warranty, and it was absolutely full of this silicone stuff. It was a red one. They didn't really, every time they put a normal gasket in, it was followed by this black silicone or red silicone, what they use. This can damage your engine, and we found that in this D9. It was full of silicone. So it is safe to use, but not in the amount of what we found in that particular engine. So generally, gaskets, you try to stay away from this thing unless it's authorized by the original engine manufacturer. Typically, you would put a gasket in dry. You can see some of the gaskets have got little built-in sealing things on them, like that blue line. Or you'd use a rubber grease, just a simple rubber grease. If it's an aluminium housing that you put it onto, it often keeps it in place as well. Rubber grease will not deteriorate or eat this up like some other greases. So that's just some information about installation. But obviously, always look at your workshop manuals and follow the OEM guides. Now, storage of gaskets, as I said earlier, what to look out for in terms of gaskets that get brittle when you do stock takes and those sort of things. Just keep an eye on that. I don't expect you to go and bend all the big gaskets, but just be aware of that. There are some gaskets that we get from different suppliers. They are, I'm just trying to look for one actually. They come in, they're bent. So you've got, due to storage, you don't want to have too big a box. Gaskets are often bent over with a cardboard little tube, or quite a toilet roll, maybe for miniature blokes, but that's quite a, if you ever do that, make sure you get a hard cardboard round cylindrical container for that. We have had some suppliers, we don't use them anymore. We've had some suppliers where they've used just a thin piece of cardboard and it just crushed and broke the gasket. So you guys who are picking, you guys who are packing the stuff away, just keep your eyes open to that. This is a gasket that we got from Komatsu the other day. I just wanted to show you how it was packed, just so you guys are aware of such things. So that's a gasket that came nicely put onto that box like that. And well, you can guess where it bent like that. You can see the gasket's damaged. So that gasket came with a kink in it. If it's got a kink in like that, it's no good. All right? So when you pack gaskets, just make sure it's all together. There are no kinks in it, and that should be okay. So just part of the quality control. That will go into the bin as well with the other ones. Obviously, we can't control the weather. We've just come from a flood cycle. Some of the gaskets that were in one of the containers came out wet. This box was all wet. So just look out for, this is a head gasket. It's made of like a tin metal, and you can see it's starting to rust on the ends there. Right? That's no good. Head gasket as well came out damaged. You can see that's badly kinked. It's got a steel ring where your cylinders come in between each one. You can see that steel ring's kinked. Obviously that also belongs down there. So gaskets, if you're in the middle of nowhere and you don't have the right gasket and you got Russian tanks on the way, you might just make a gasket. Right? So you would use a velamoid. You wouldn't probably use this piece of paper, but you'd use something a bit thicker, and you would place it on the part that you're going to make. So let's say you need a gasket for this housing there. You want a nice round gasket like that. You would place your velamoid, which is really just gasket material, stuff like this, sort of a cardboardy thing. You would place it over there, over the part. You get a hammer, probably a little one's better than this one, and you would just lightly drag it along like that, the outline of the part, and you would actually get the image of the part that you need with your little hammer, and you knock the holes out, and that's how you make your gasket. If you need one engine, but I can't warranty that. Do that. I'll pass around some different gaskets that we sell. Now, obviously, there are customers out there who want the best quality. There are other customers who run dozers that are as old as Neville, and you want to just keep them going for the next month or so, so you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on those sort of gaskets. But these are some of the gaskets we sell. I'll pass them around. That is a cat one. Our quality brand is RPD. You can see they've got the little sealing part here. Okay, if you feel those two, you won't see any difference. We also sell Bulldog. Bulldog is the same quality as these two. And then this is a sort of cheaper Chinese one. You can see there's no gluey stuff on it. And so we stock all three of these, and it just really often depends on our customers' needs and requirements and what. So you just pass those around. Just in terms of the different types of gaskets that are available, as I said earlier, we do get cork gaskets. These are quite often found in tappet covers which sit on top of the cylinder head. They have quite a lot of give in them, you see. A lot of cork has been replaced by different rubber types ones. Then we have, as I said earlier, different ones for temperatures. This one was actually found in one of the boxes. It was damaged. You can see it's got kinks in it. All right, part of our quality control, we rejected that before it went to the customer. So you guys are the ears and eyes of everything that goes out this door. All right. I just want to quickly show you the RPD kits that we sell. We sell this in Bulldogs as well, our premium brands. This kit was designed for if you're in an oil rig and you'll get 11 boxes of gaskets from Caterpillar. If you buy this from RPD, you'll get one box with absolutely everything in it. You might get a turbo gasket, which is for different serial number ranges, arrangement number ranges. You'll get a gasket that size, and you might get the next arrangement might have a gasket that size for the turbo. You'll get them both in this kit. So if you have a look at the part number of this kit, it's a 40 something. So 406. So they dropped the 3. So 406 means it's for a 3406. You get this in the head. You get this in a head gasket. You get this in a full outer frame gasket and a full in-frame gasket. These gaskets are absolutely awesome. Just look at the quality of that product there that's in there. And you can see that they're cat quality. Right? If they can't find an aftermarket part that's of a decent quality, if they can't produce it, they'll just put a cat one. So quite often you might see a cat one in there. And that's the RPD brand. We also do, obviously, our other brand is Bulldog, which is as good a quality. Those are the two main brands we sell. We do sell other brands, being some parts are getting more and more difficult to source, particularly when they get old. So we do have cheaper Chinese versions, possibly from different other gasket manufacturers. And that's like that cheaper one I showed you, where the customer has got an old machine and he just wants to keep it going. So he doesn't want to pay a lot of money. All right, I think that sort of covers most of the stuff. Is there any questions? So I just want to reiterate to you guys, you pack gaskets in dispatch. Just be aware of that example there from Komatsu, how you pack things. They are fragile. Keep them on the top of your parcel because they're going to break. And also the little toilet roll things that I showed you earlier, just bear them. And if you need to bend it, just do it properly. And if you're not sure, come and see one of us here in the quality department. Is there any questions?
Has everybody got a good camera shot, eh?
Very comprehensive.
Hey Pete, you said that steel head gasket there is rusty, right?
Yeah.
If that wasn't rusty, would it still be all right, even if it's, or is it too
Yeah.
bent?
When it's got a kink in it, yeah.
But if it didn't have that, and
Yeah.
because
there's-
it's so flimsy,
Yeah, look, if it's got a kink in it, it's. I mean, you can use that, but we sell new parts. The customers expecting a good quality item. We wouldn't put that in stock now. To answer your question, it might be usable, but it'll be rejected. Anything else?
I'm not sure if you touched on it, but
Sorry, hang on, I
before,
can't hear you.
before you said something about the different types of gaskets that come in the kits. You said 3 different things. In something like, I can't remember what you said, but
The arrangements.
yeah, different arrangements of.
Oh, okay. So the question was, I mentioned about the IPD kit having possibly 3 different exhaust gaskets for different arrangements. Caterpillar use a serial number for this engine, is a 3406, and they use an arrangement number. So the arrangement might discern that it's used in a generator as opposed to in a bulldozer. So a lot of these kits are built where it covers all the 3 possible scenarios to avoid. You get a lot of customers who order a part from us. They give us the arrangement number, and the gasket arrives at the customers. We've given him the right thing according to what he's given us, but he's got an engine change or he's had some other thing change on his machine, and he doesn't really know about that. So that's the beauty about that kit as well, is you get that kit, you can be rest assured that everything's in there to do the job. So, and it's just it's a very small cost for an extra little gasket that you might occur. Now, anybody who's done any mechanical work, it's quite often happens where the supplier, the OEM manufacturer, they've left out something because it's under a different area where you should have ordered it under. So it gets quite confusing how to order parts. That solves that problem with one box, bang, everything.
So with that big box, Pete, you're probably going to have lots of pieces left over when you finish doing the job you do. So it's
Not really.
different.
It's not very often that you have different arrangement numbers. Turbo is quite often the case, but no, not. Sometimes you get a few little things, but you should use 95% of the stuff. So these are just some of the things that are in there. All beautifully packed. All the gaskets for. So that componentry there is sort of the exhaust. This componentry here is for the cylinder heads. They're all beautifully packed together. This componentry here says they're lower. It's all coming out of that kit. All the lower componentries come out of there. So they really are. A lot of mechanics love these kits. All right. Thank you.
So just a statement more than a question. It's fascinating that on the smaller gaskets that we're stocking 3 and 4 price ranged items when the difference is probably